Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or whatever time of day it is at this moment where you live. My name is Enrico Codogno, and I am the Principal Consultant at Customer Foresight. My presentation today is entitled "The Message is the Method, Presenting Bad News and Living to Tell the Tale." The objectives of the presentation are twofold. First, demonstrate the importance of high-quality research and its presentation, and presenting them to skeptical clients and having them accept the research findings, which are actually contrary to their hopes and expectations, and using them, the research findings, as a guide to making changes to their products and services. And two, corporate culture plays an important role in the acceptance of market research findings that are considered negative or bad news. The market research can only control the quality of the research, its interpretation, and its presentation. Now, as market researchers, we all like to present good news to our clients. High customer satisfaction scores, uncovering new markets and business opportunities. Generally, anything that tells the client that all is well. Keep doing what you're doing. Maintain the status quo, or make only small adjustments to the way you do things. The market research consultant brings the good news and generally looks like a hero. A confirmation that what the company is doing is perfect, and that the money spent on the research was indeed well spent. Stakeholders, shareholders, internal clients are all happy. Clients can't get enough of this good news, and neither, quite frankly, can a market researcher. Now, market researchers, generally speaking, do not like to present bad news. And I'm sure that this is a big surprise to every one of you. Low customer satisfaction scores, new and unexpected competitors threatening the company's position in the marketplace. Generally, anything that forces significant changes to a company's products and service offerings is a hard sell, because the ramifications move up the chain of command, impacting the C-suite, stakeholders, shareholders, the board of directors, and the self-image of the company. Put yourself in their shoes. Imagine being a senior manager or VP, and you need to explain the research results to your boss. They are quite likely to push back against the results, proving the old adage, the Nile is not just some river in Egypt. And this is what it feels like for the market researcher presenting the bad news. The world turns dark, cold, and hostile, like being caught outside in a storm in the high plains. You can run, but you can't hide. Nor should you try to run and hide. If you did your job properly, you should be able to present your findings with confidence and provide the client with a solution, or at least some guidance to solve the problem. It is these situations that prove your worth as a market researcher. Now, a recent study provides the scenario for today's presentation. The client in question provides a subscription service which is paid full at the beginning of the year or 12-month term. Customers tend to be large multinationals with over 10,000 employees worldwide, and many of these companies have over 30,000 employees worldwide. The biggest contracts bring in revenues of several $1 million a year annually, so these are big contracts. The weakness we found was a use it or lose it policy. That is, no carrying over of unused service to the next year. For example, a customer may pay $1 million upfront for a 12-month subscription, and then 11.5 months later into the subscription, about 2 weeks to go, they find they've only used $900,000 worth of the service. So you need to spend the remaining $100,000 in the last 2 weeks, or else the money is wasted on unused service. If you're a senior manager in that company, how do you explain the loss or waste of money to your management group? A very uncomfortable situation, to say the least. Yet, that is the situation that some of our clients' customers were faced with. and many of these customers were large multinationals, as we mentioned earlier. Our research found that a competitor was aware of this flaw and that their sales reps were exploiting it during sales presentation, saying that there is no need to worry about unused funds or service. You can carry over into the next year with us. The result for our client was devastating. They lost bids on new sales, as well they lost long-time customers. This was costing the client literally millions of dollars in lost revenues, and the client's reputation was damaged. Now, the presentation of the results, of the research results. Well, the research results were indisputable, and we were using a mystery shopping methodology, which was adopted to the business-to-business environment that the client was in, and that was part of an overall competitive intelligence research approach. Our clients' customers were aware of the problem. Our research showed that they reacted positively when, during sales presentations, the competitor's sales reps raised the issue of carrying over unused funds. No use it or lose it problem for them. The question we were asking ourselves was, why wasn't the client aware of the problem earlier, since they conduct customer satisfaction studies on a regular basis? But that's an issue for a separate presentation. Anyway, the client company, which means the human beings who make up the senior management team, had to either accept or reject the research findings. And of course, this is out of the hands of the market research consultant. It is also a very severe test of the company's corporate culture. Happily, the client made the difficult but correct decision to modify their product offering. No more use it or lose it policy. And let's face it, they were lucky in that it was only a policy they had to change, as opposed to overhauling or modifying the actual product and service. Yet, it took some convincing, and there were some tense moments during the presentation. So now we go into the question of the validation of the research. So the question we ask, why do clients resist research findings that show the need for change? And the answer is that the validation of the research results takes time and can only take place after the changes are made in the product or service offering. That is why their decision was a hard one to make, even though it was just a change of policy, as opposed to a change in product or service. The proof of the validity of the research lay in the comparison of sales wins and losses versus losses, and customer retention versus customer losses in the 6 to 12 months before and after the research. Our client went from unsuccessful bids and the loss of long-term clients to successful bids and the retention of clients. Improved sales alone justify the cost of the research on a 400-to-1 ratio. And I propose that, or I make this assertion that at least 0.1% of the market of sales should be put into market research budgets. That is to say, a company's market research budget should be a minimum of 0.1% of sales. For example, a company with $1 billion in annual sales should budget at least $1 million in market research. Also, a company with $50 million in annual sales should budget a minimum, and this is just a bare minimum, of $50,000 for market research. And the summation is this: our experience with this market research project leads to the following conclusions. One, the acceptance of bad news is largely dependent on two factors: the quality of the research, which means the execution of the research, the accuracy of the data, and the presentation of the findings. And two, the corporate culture of the company. That is to say, the human beings who form the senior management group. Market research consultant can only control the first factor. Two, non-traditional market research methods can play a positive role in helping a company improve its customer service experience and hence improve sales and customer retention. Mystery shopping, for example, can provide insight into real-time and real-life interactions between customers and vendors. These methodologies do not replace traditional market research, but they serve as a complementary research strategy to add a more nuanced understanding of customer behavior and customer experience. Every dollar a company invests in market research, and this is the third point, can result in hundreds or even thousands of dollars in new sales and customer retention. You just have to be aware of the lag time in seeing the results. Market research in general should be seen as an investment, not an expense. It is vital to change the mindset that regards market research as an expense, a cost of doing business, as opposed to being what it really is, an investment with real and quantifiable benefits. And finally, market research budgets should be a minimum of 0.1% of annual sales in order for companies to see value in their market research investment. And that pretty much sums up my presentation. I'm just wondering if there are any questions regarding the presentation I've made.